a war against NATO, with of course without the USA and Canada. Of course, we'll be answering this question. Listen, Belarus is allowed to join the battle because Belarus will likely join as well, and Ukraine is allowed to join because they're already at war with Ukraine. Let's just assume that the United States, due to some reason, said we're not helping Europe because of our own problems as well. How would any countries backstab NATO? Would countries side with would countries like Italy and Hungary backstab NATO? Or will Russia win, or will NATO win? So all the current members of NATO declare war on Russia, except for of course the USA and Canada, because of course you have to read the title. The veil is not including the USA and Canada, as well. Mostly the USA. The Canada just exists. As well. Or maybe take Austria is not part of NATO. So, and Montenegro is a part of NATO. Okay, Montenegro and North Macedonia are part of NATO. In regards to Kosovo. Red is Russia's side. Russia starts to push against Ukraine. Because USA is not helping as well. Russia is now using the full army against Ukraine. The front hasn't really changed. Russia uses less troops in the battle against Ukraine. Now is using more troops with the help of Belarus to capture the Baltic countries. The Baltic countries are swiftly overrun. Without help from the United States, these countries are swiftly overrun by Russian troops and Russian Belarusian troops. Oh yeah, and we're not including China either. Yeah, we're not including you either, China. But it's mostly Russia and its ally Belarus. Kazakhstan also joins as well because they're also friends of Russia. There's now a massive chokehold here in the border with Poland. They push further into the Ukraine. As well, the problem is Russia doesn't have much more people than the rest of Europe. The rest of Europe doesn't really have a good military because they rely on the United States. This would be a problem because Russia has a lot of army. They have 1 million troops. I think the rest of NATO is like without the USA has like 800,000 troops as well, which means this would be pretty bad for Europe because they don't have the USA to help them. So Russia will easily take advantage of this. And now winter is coming and the battle is a stalemate at this point, like in World War One. After winter is over, Russia starts pushing into more of Ukraine lands. Finland, oh yeah, there's also no nukes. Sweden and Finland join NATO to stop Russia. Russia starts to invade Finland and Sweden. But bulk of the troops are not really going to be fighting in those regions. The goal is to defeat Ukraine first, defeat Ukraine. Ukraine is mostly being held by NATO troops. The invasion of Poland begins. To connect the troops of Ukraine's. Europe still has the energy problems. So so Europe will have to rely on oil from other countries to fuel the war. This is a problem because the United States is the biggest fuel energy supplier as well besides Russia. And Russia is cutting off most of the fuel and energy to Europe, which causes a big problem as well. Hungary exits NATO due to unrest due to people demanding the Orban to leave NATO, which causes a problem because Hungary is still a very important country with around 10 million people. Which means you have hundreds of thousands of less troops on the battlefield. Ukraine is captured. The battle for the Balkans begins. Serbia joins the war against NATO. Serbia is one of the few only pro-Russian countries left in the EU, in the Europe, not the EU. Italy's prime minister manages to pull Italy out of NATO, because of massive protests and energy costs. And actually, Italy switches sides like in World War One because Italy is Italy. It's just Italy just never changes. Yep, Italy never changes. The invasion, the EU condemned Italy's switching sides, and put massive sanctions on Giorgia Meloni's government. The invasion of Croatia and Slovenia began. Serbia also invades Croatia. Croatia surrenders. The Ottomans Turkey leaves the war due to hyperinflation of the Turkish currency. The invasion of Romania continues. The EU sees the front in the Balkans as losing. Seen as Bulgaria surrenders. The invasion of Greece begins. And North Macedonia. Montenegro swiftly surrenders, and Albania is now being taken out. And Serbia invades Kosovo and retakes Kosovo. The invasion of Greece begins and is one of the worst of them all. Albania surrenders. The Balkans are now a lost hope for the EU, and they blame Turkey's exit as the reason for the loss. The invasion of the North European plain continues as Slovakia surrenders. The invasion of Finland continues. Now it is winter 2024. They managed to push back Russia and an ally in the countries they control back a little bit, liberating Slovakia and Poland. Parts of Poland, Slovakia. Finland is pressing back a bit against Russia, and even invades parts of Karelia, as well. Which cuts off like 10 people here, like 10 people live in this total area. Italy takes the other island here. A nationalist party takes over in Denmark. And leaves the EU and NATO all together. The invasion of the Czech Republic is starting, and Poland surrenders, like they do in literally everything. But yeah, Russia takes back this area right here. Italy starts to invade France. The AfD takes power in Germany and negotiates a peace deal with Russia in around 2025. Sweden exits the war. So, what is the conclusion? If the USA did not support NATO and Canada, there was a high probability that Russia would actually do well against Europe. Ukraine has around 40 million people. And if they take the Baltics, that's around another 6 million people. And also with the help of Kazakhstan and Belarus, that's another 30 million people. And if they manage to convince Italy, because the Prime Minister of Italy is more Russia friendly, they can basically convince Italy to betray NATO, essentially, or Turkey as well, which Turkey is another country that is on the teetering of leaving NATO. This area could have also went differently if Turkey left NATO as well and betrayed NATO. Italy and Turkey and Hungary are the three countries most likely to leave. And as NATO goes into more turmoil as well, without the help of the USA and Canada, NATO will eventually collapse and suffer due to instability in several countries. So Europe will need the United States to help them in any war against Russia and Belarus and Kazakhstan if they end the CTSO, if they declare war on NATO as well. Maybe next we do what if China declared war on Japan and Korea and Taiwan. But yep, that's basically this video. Goodbye.